Alexander. I'm the author of Badass Christian, Generational Mysfunction. Badass is an uncompromising person. What does it mean to uncompromise? Meaning you're not going to do it any other way, but however you feel that's the way it should be done. What's most important is what you're basing those feelings upon. When I wrote Badass Christian, initially what happened was my son and I have a son with cerebral palsy, spastic quadriplegia, and I said, Jimmy, we need to take us a trip and go all over the country and just see the United States. And he's like, yeah. See, he's considered nonverbal, so he says very little, but when he says something, it's understood. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, well, what are we going to do to raise money? And I said, Mommy's going to write a book. I went to school for mass comm journalism. I write, so let's write a book. So one day I was talking to one of my friends. He's an author. And I said, well, I'm going to write a book so I can raise some money to take Jimmy on a trip. And he's like, well, what you going to write about? And I said, I don't know. He said, maybe you should write about your Christianity. And he's like, because you're a good Christian. I said, well, actually, I'm a badass Christian. So, but he's like, well, that's a good title. I said, well, let's go with it. So as I got into it, I was like, should I really write this? Should I really say this? Because I am a good Christian. But as time went on and different things transpired in my life, it just came down to it, you have to write this book. It was like I was compelled to do it, so I did it. But today, what I'm going to talk to you about is In Search of a Badass. And when I say In Search of a Badass, what came to mind to me was Job. And I'm not talking about Job, the guy we hear about in church. I heard about Job in church. They would sing about him in church. There was this one song they were singing. It was kind of depressing, but it had like a good beat to it. So, we'll jam to it. But I learned about Job in my literary class in college. And the way she taught Job to me was better than any theologian could have ever given it to me. She broke it down because Job, the book of Job is actually accepted like literature. It's full of prologues. It starts with a prologue. There's a prologue in the beginning where the devil, Satan, he comes with the sons of God and he presents himself just like the rest of the angels. And he said, God says to Satan, what have you been doing? He said, I've been in search of. Look, what have you considered Job since you're searching for something? And the lay person may think, well, why would he even suggest, such a good man for him to do these things to? Because once you go through the story and you realize Job lost everything. The deal that Satan kind of made with God, he's like, I bet you he'll curse you. I bet you he'll curse you. He said, the only reason he doesn't curse you is because you blessed him so much. He's highly favored. He has this, he has that. He got the bling, he got the wife, he got the cattle, he got all those children. And if I take it from him, he'll curse you to your face. Let's try him. So he goes out. God tells him, well, one stipulation, don't kill him. And he goes out and he just wipes all of his wealth away, wipes everything away, and left that one person there with him, his wife. You would think that would be a good thing. He had his ride or die with him, but she was like, you need to go and die. But to get to the story, there's the prologue, and then you get to the monologues where Job's friends, his friends of all people, are telling him, oh, you must have sinned. You must have done something wrong. Like you've been walking around here like you all this and that, but you've done something, because surely God wouldn't have did this to you if you would have been doing good things, if you'd have been a good person. But what I like about Job, he was just so uncompromising. He's like, I don't care what you say. Your wisdom is not superior to my wisdom. You don't know God better than me. I'll make my case to God. And this goes on for a little while. You have the monologues, you have the epilogues, and it's full of all these aspects of literature. And if you're like a really literary person, it draws you in. I mean, I've never heard Job preached better than I did in that lit class. And when she gets to the end and she says, she introduces God and God's giving his monologue, and I'm like, oh yeah, God's giving his monologue. And the one thing that he said that really stood out to me is, where were you? And he didn't even address any of Job's woes, okay, you got balls on you, all your children dead, all your cows dead, You know, the raiders came in, y'all, your servants, that you have absolutely nothing. He didn't even address any of that with Job. His question to Job was, where were you? When I was laying the foundations of the earth, where were you? Where were not of the world, of the universe, where were you? So, he just like, I'm God. I am. Period. So, but he did look at those friends over there. And he said, I'm going to address it with them. They're the ones who came against you. Not knowing what they were talking about, I'm going to check up for you. And he tells them, you know, I'm not even listening to you. But Job here, he's going to pray on your behalf, and I'm going to hear him on your behalf. And it just goes to show how when you stand for God and you do not compromise, he will go and he will defend you, even to your friends. Which, to me, I'm like, what kind of friends are those? But even if, and it happens when you fall down. There's a story in the New Testament where Peter, another badass, cutting people's ears off, cussing people out. Jesus picked him though. He picked him. So you can't say nothing about it. So he tells Peter, Jesus does, Satan has asked to sift you, and again, in search of a badass. And it's amazing how even with Jesus, with God, how they point out the unseemly people to get picked on. You know how Peter is. You know how he is. But he says, Satan has asked to sift you. He said, but I have prayed for you. And he said, when you are strengthened, strengthen your brother. So he knew he was going to do what he did. But he's like, when you get better, strengthen your brother. And I looked at the correlation between these seemingly badasses. You know, they uncompromised. God chose Job. Jesus chose Peter. They both had to strengthen their brother. They were the person that, in the end, there's like, okay, well, you go and pray for this person. But supposedly, you're the badass. And right now, God is looking for badasses. He was looking for people who will not compromise, who will stand for him no matter what anybody says, no matter what your friend says, no matter what your family says, no matter what it looks like. Whether it's tatted up, looking like rich, looking like a whatever. He's looking for badasses. He's looking for you. God bless you. Anybody have any questions? Well, thank you all for coming. I haven't used them in 25 minutes. I'm sorry.
Onward and upward, sister.
Let's do it.
That's right.
I do have 2 books I'd like to give away. So